After the Rams signed Odell Beckham Jr. in practice, Rams practice, Robert Woods blew out his ACL and he is finished for the season. So all the Van Jefferson owners, I hope you didn't drop Van Jefferson in this spot. Hopefully you didn't drop Odell Beckham either. So for week 10 in particular, Odell Beckham appears like he is going to be active for Monday Night Football. So Cooper Kupp remains number 1 in the rankings. For week 10, I have Van Jefferson just slotted inside the top 20 and Odell Beckham Jr. coming in at number 32. Tyler Higbee moves up to number 11 in the tight end rankings as well. But rest of the season, how does this really play out? I would guess, and this is going to be really interesting for Darrell Henderson as well, because one of the most underrated parts about Robert Woods, why he tends to get lost on a week-to-week basis and not have that receiving consistency versus someone like Cooper Kupp, is that Robert Woods is one of the premier blockers on the outside of any receiver in the NFL. So this might actually damage Darrell Henderson just a little bit, because we know after watching the Titans game last week that the Rams offensive line, not all that great. So I'm curious to see what happens with Darrell Henderson. It's not like I'm moving him down a ton or anything like that, but it might cap his upside overall, especially on those off-tackle runs. Now, fortunately, Odell, when he's actually trying, a pretty good blocker in his own right. So I think for the rest of the season, would I want Van Jefferson or Odell Beckham is what it comes down to here. Let me ask the coin. We'll go heads for Odell, we'll go tails for Van Jefferson, because that's what this feels like right now. The coin says Van Jefferson with the tails for the Mayo Media Network coin flip. And I think I'm in that same boat too. More familiar with the offense. Obviously, they're both great deep ball threats. Maybe you end up seeing Odell get a lot of the work underneath, and that will improve his target and reception base. But in terms of overall yardage, I still think that a lot of these plays are designed for Van Jefferson to get behind the defense. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is number 1. I do think that both Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham could potentially be wide receiver 3s and flex plays right now. The main thing would be is if Odell Beckham is available on your waiver wire, obviously you go pick him up. If you have Odell Beckham right now, very much like the Antonio Brown situation from a year ago, where it did take him a few weeks, and it wasn't until the end of the year that he started going off. He never really developed that same sort of consistency that we saw throughout the playoffs and so far in 2021. So with Odell, shop him around right now before your trade deadline, because there might be someone in your league who is just way too hyped for Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not saying offer Odell for Christian McCaffrey, but if you do see like a mid-tier running back that you think that you can go to, hell, try Odell for Saquon and see what happens. Just throw it out there. Obviously, it's probably going to be rejected, but there's enough people upset with Saquon Barkley at the moment that maybe that player in your league gets super hyped for OBJ, hasn't really paid attention to football in the past 4 years, and at least that way you guarantee yourself a low-end running back 1 instead of Beckham, who, listen, he could be a wide receiver 1. He's far more likely to be a wide receiver 4 than a wide receiver 1. It's all on his range of outcomes. You might as well cash in on the hype right now, especially with Woods blowing out his ACL. So start firing off offers right now for any player that you perceive to be much better than Odell Beckham, because your league mate may not feel the same way, and he's going to get on that OBJ hype train. That is the move with Odell Beckham right now.